we try and coil clean Dylan's unit every year, which is probably, he's got loads of allergy issues,
Right.
so we go more than most people would. I want to make it clear actually at this point, because there's loads of people and service providers online that are claiming that that coil cleaning or duct cleaning is the golden elixir to stopping allergy problems. Absolute rubbish, without a doubt. And if my guys won't sell it that way, without a doubt. What they are is contributing factors and nothing more, and things that you want to just rule out.
Right.
It just so happens, actually, that on this occasion, he was suffering with various coughing fits, and they've improved. They haven't been eliminated, but they've improved dramatically since we got the coil cleaning done. But I'd left it 18 months. And
wow, 18 months?
Yeah, I had, which was pretty garbage of me. So as soon as I realised that and got the dig in the ribs to get it sorted, we got it done. And I was like, you know what, I don't think that's the only thing I've let go of here. So we looked at it, and it just makes sense that that we get it onto a regular contract. So now every 4 months it will be serviced properly.
Oh, that's good.
Whether I like it or not. So, you know, at some point you realise the difference. That is the big difference, really, between a maintenance contract and going ad hoc, which is it doesn't rely on the individual to make that that call and remember to make that call.
Well, and what happens if you're ad hoc, which many people are, and a contract makes sense. But if you're ad hoc, people like me, who I believe I'm an ad hoc, well, that's a good question.
Yeah, you're kind of in the middle of that, aren't
I'm in the middle of that.
Because you've got the landlords guys who you can call on when you need. So
I know they like to do a cleaning a couple times a year. So
there's a bit of scheduled in there as well.
But if you are ad hoc, you wait till they break down. You wait till it's not cooling enough. You wait, and inevitably that's when it starts getting really hot. That's when it starts getting really busy. You're caught out. The list goes on. You know, it's dripping through the ceiling, as opposed to doing your 4-month maintenance, and that'll never happen.
Yeah, but then you've got the other side of that. Let's be realistic about this. So first of all, if you're on an annual maintenance contract, you obviously get a discount versus if you're going ad hoc for the same amount of servicing. But the reality is you've got two kind of schools of thought, which is you've got the one, I want my units to be reliable and I want them clean and that kind of thing, in which case annual maintenance contract makes total sense. And you've got those people that go, I just don't have the money to be able to have that level of servicing. Okay, well, if you don't have the money, the one time that you do not want to be servicing your units is when it's just gone hot. Businesses like mine are really busy, so there's no way we can give a discount because we're just scrabbling around to be able to cover the amount of demand that we have. Yeah. Instead, the perfect time to service your ACs is January. Straight after the new year, where companies like us are kind of struggling with volume because A, it's cold, and secondly, people have just gone through the Christmas and New Year period, so that they are traditionally shorter, people are short of money in January, as we well know. And as a result, that's the time when we will offer discounts to get people through the door.
So you got to game the system as a consumer.
Play the system, without a doubt. And that's the way to do it. And but again, one service is unlikely to get you reliably through a year. Yeah. But again, if you could get through that summer period, so that you did another one, you know, towards the end of the AC season, then you've got more chance of getting through.
Now, what about looking at the age of where you're living? So if you're living in a place that's brand new, okay, there's maybe some warranty work, that's fine, and things. It's a few years old. It's
and construction dust and normally bricks and various other rubble in your ducts.
But if you're living in a place that's 15 years old, it probably makes sense for you to budget in for that annual maintenance contract, because not only is your cooling going to be an issue, but other things are going to be an issue down the road as well.
And you're not paying labour for repairs.
Yeah.
So therefore...
that's the big... I didn't realize this. Okay.
No, for repair work, you don't pay labour. You pay the parts cost, but you don't pay the labour.
Well, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. It's massive difference, without a doubt. And, you know, from our perspective, it makes sense that we would get the repairs done to keep it reliable. Yeah. So therefore, we need to make sure that they are maintained really well, so that for us, unscheduled is just the worst of the lot. The emergency call-outs, because we've got service level agreements that we need to hit. Right. Well, if those units are failing, and it's due to the fact that the repairs have not been done correctly, that's on me. Yeah. You know? That's not a good place to be from a service provider's perspective. So it's really important that the servicing work is done well. Anything that is defective is brought to the attention of the homeowner and is rectified as soon as possible.
Yeah. You know, what a great idea, just like, as you're saying, just plan ahead, put this into your yearly budget and live with a little bit more satisfaction.
Yeah.
And peace of mind.
And the truth of the matter is most people don't want to spend their time thinking about building maintenance, do they?
No one does.
They've got more fun things to do.
Yeah.
So
picnicking, going to the beach.
One phone call
Camping.
for an annual maintenance contract, and next thing you know, you can do all the stuff with your family that you want to, rather than sat at home. Oh, here's a classic.
Oh, here we go.
We had a friend of Dan's actually, who.
So Dan, just for those in case someone who's tuned in.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back and I'm going to repost up some of the Dan and Colin years.
Yes.
Because I've got a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, well, Dan's my business partner at WeWillFixIt. The two of us own the company. And Dan's friend asked us to come in and basically help him out with a whole bunch of just real odd jobs that needed doing. Everything from his his bath had sunk.
What?
All of the taps were going past their close points.
Oh, no.
There were leaks on the irrigation pump.
No.
There was all of his garden electrics needed to be redone. There were new lights to hang. He basically bought the place that he'd been renting, so he knew it really, really well. And there was a conversation that started before this with Dan, which was with his wife when they were having a party. And the conversation went, "Oh, where's so-and-so? Oh, he's at home waiting for the maintenance team. Oh, really? Yeah, they were due 2 hours ago and they're still not there, so he's had to stay at home because we've got to get this fixed." Well, that's not a way to behave as a maintenance provider, is it? Yeah. Well, no, not really. We can't say we're overly happy with it. Anyway, so we got there, and basically all the work that he needed doing from us was stuff that should have been covered by the maintenance contract, but wasn't. And the work that had been done under the maintenance contract was a bit of a disaster. So now, it turns out, we didn't know, but it turns out that he has 3 properties in Dubai that are all coming to essential maintenance.
Nice.
Thanks to the work that we did to fix his current place.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, really good news indeed. But it's just that, again, the problem with a maintenance contract is traditionally people will take the money for the contract and then they want the least amount of money to actually service it. So that means cheap staff, cheap parts, and you know what? Not many people will be able to actually attend when required. Yeah. Because we sit it alongside the WeWillFixIt ad hoc brand, it's the same staff as are going job by job, which naturally, if you've not got people's money up front, you need to make sure that goes rather well, otherwise they won't call back. So by sitting both of the companies together with the same people at the same quality, the same parts, it basically means that it's very, very easy to do a better job than the rest of the companies in the market. It's just a no-brainer really for us.
There we go.
Yeah.
Interesting one also last night, about 10:30 at night. I got the screen door open downstairs because it's not, it's temperature's nice, so there's no AC on. And I hear this wheezing, squealing sound. And I'm thinking, so I go out into the backyard thinking, man, where's this motor in my yard that's making this sound? It's not coming from my yard. It's coming from the neighbor's yard.
Irrigation pump.
Yeah. And the sound of it though, like this was this was the sound of a pump that's about ready to go.
That's a Dragon Mart special, without a doubt. And what happens with those is that the main seal, which is between the motor and basically the pressure tank that's creating the pressure, fails. Which therefore means water gets down the shaft into the bearing of the motor, and then at that point, it will scream. It will scream quickly. That can happen on some of the pumps in Dragon Mart inside 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing when you see it.
You save a little bit, but you spend a lot more in the long run.
It's just, you might as well just buy 5 when you start there,
Which
crazy.
It seems, I saw the neighbor the other day, and I don't know if he listens to this podcast. I suggest not, because he's never mentioned it.
Has he got a flagpole?
Not yet.
Zip line?
No, not yet.
You should try and negotiate whether or not you could do it over 2 gardens. So you've got 117 feet.
And he's got the pool, right? So I don't have the pool. I've got the jacuzzi. He's got the pool.
You could land in it.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, brilliant.
Right off the balcony.
Yeah. Maybe you just don't tell him and just arrive airborne.
When he goes away, I set it up into his yard with the help of his garden crew, because he's got guys who are there all the time.
Oh, you need them.
Yeah. And he always knows. It's always the comment. He goes, I just don't know how you do it. I go, do what? Because I mow my own lawn.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff, and do my own yard maintenance, and trim my own bushes and trees. I just don't know how you do it.
Oh, Guess what? I bought this
What did you get? What did you get?
The nuts of the pressure washer world. I bought a Nilfisk.
Really?
Have you heard of Nilfisk?
Yes.
Right, okay, this is proper industrial. You're not going to believe this.
Was this the one you were using on? So we got a whole bunch of threads going right now. So we got my neighbor.
Oh, yeah,
We've got the pressure washer.
Yeah, this is kind of normal though in our world, isn't it?
So let's put the neighbor on hold.
Are you sure you want to put the neighbor on hold?
Yeah, we'll put, because I was just going to mention that still the gate doesn't open.
Oh, man.
I did come out with my hands up, and did that whole thing. What's going on? He says, I can show you one side opening.
Oh, man, seriously?
So he hasn't got it open yet, and I don't want to needle him too much because, if something does go wrong in my place, I want to have someone to be able to go and knock on their door.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, do not ridicule him yet.
But he did ask because I do have my very rudimentary cat deterrent going, because of all things, cats like to go on my car if I leave it out, and I just...
What, you mean your dog?
No, they don't
very
come,
rudimentary.
They do not come in the yard, but
deterrent.
they torment the dog because they'll stay outside on my car.
Nice.
So now, because I juice every morning, I have orange peels, and I put a couple orange peels on my cart. No cats go on the car.
Nice.
Yeah,
Two,
and they like to go on the hood, right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
I put them right by the windshield wipers. 2 peels, 1 on the front bumper, and so my neighbor. This is how it fits in. He was going, who's putting orange peels on your car? Until he saw me one day putting them on. He goes, what are you doing? I said, keep the cats off.
Nice.
And it's just because I can't stand seeing their footprints on my car. That's it. Like there's, it just drives me nuts if I see cat footprints on the car.
I get it. It's not nice.
And it's
especially
weird.
with yours being a soft top.
Yeah.
You really want to keep them off.
Oh, I want to keep them.
Migrate.
Yeah, I don't want them going in. I don't. It's like, it's crazy.
No, absolutely. Pressure washer.
Yeah, the pressure. So backing up a little bit.
Yeah.
You were talking about cleaning your garden teak table.
Yes.
And I suggested the pressure washer. You said that might be a good idea.
Correct.
Did you do it yet?
No, because I've only had it a couple of days.
But you got a new pressure washer.
Right, so
what are you doing with the old pressure washer?
Well, I did have a top-of-the-range Karcher, a Karcher K7 Premium, for those who want to know. You need to get out more if you do. So what basically happened with that was it was owned by WeWillFixIt, not me personally.
Right.
And I borrowed it for a year. And then suddenly we got the call in the office of, what happened to that really nice pressure washer? We've run out of ones and we need one urgently. So it's time. Yeah, it was time for that to go back, which I did, and I've been on the lookout. But the thing is, I am not a fan of a certain brand's lower ranges.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to spend a huge amount, but I wanted something properly industrial. And properly industrial starts at about $6,500.
That's a lot of money.
I know, it's mega money for a pressure washer.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of looking for the last 5 months, daily, and I haven't found anything of the level that I needed. And then it was like this eureka moment, James. Right? I'm on Do Busily, and I not only
Do Bizzle, by the way, if you're listening overseas.
Oh yes,
it is the online.
What's the one in the US called? That they have. Oh, what's the one where everybody gets the stuff from? You know the one I mean.
Yeah, I do know exactly what you mean.
We'll get it in the story. We always get it in the story.
It'll come eventually.
Yeah.
But it can
Craigslist.
Craigslist.
Yes.
Craigslist.
Right.
And it could be Facebook Marketplace. Any of these things.
Could be. I obviously search that daily as well. So
is Facebook Marketplace big here in the UAE?
It's odd because only certain people can get it. Dan can't get it. I can. So,
I don't think I can get it because I never see it come up on any of my stuff.
I've got the feeling that I did some voodoo 6 months ago to actually make it happen.
All right.
But it wasn't dodgy. I mean, it's legit, but I've done something to my settings.
Speaking of Do Bizzle, just the off thing, I never thought about this. One of my sons, my oldest son, is doing a lot of purging, but he lives in Canada. And he was telling me the stuff he was purging. And then I walked by his bedroom here in the UAE and noticed the things he's purging, he's also got a stash of them here, like vintage Nerf guns. I'm thinking I could put those up on Do Bizzle for him.
Good idea.
Okay, anyway.
Do what my parents did, which is do that but just don't mention it.
Well, no,
pocket the cash.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah.
It was only later on when I said, oh, how's by the way, if you felt the need to get rid of this, and do. I think it was an old motorcycle helmet. And Dad was like, I got rid of that 5 years ago. Oh, how'd you get rid of it? Who'd you give it to? Oh, I sold it on eBay.
There we go.
What happened to the cash? Well, you know. Jeez. And then it turns out he's been doing this daily for 5 years.
Yeah, there we go.
So anyway, so there's this eureka moment on Dubizzle where I literally saw this Nilfisk and I thought, I really like Nilfisk. That's like one of the
How used was this thing?
Maybe 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah.
Who would buy something, use it 3 times? And
you not believe this?
Okay.
He lived 300 yards away in Sahil in the ranches. I'm like, this is just too good.
You could wheel it home.
Oh, I literally could have done. No problem. So obviously I drove round because, you know. And so I literally got round there, a lovely chap. And he said...
Did he offer you tea?
He didn't, but he offered me car shampoo that worked with it, which was really kind of him. Yeah, but get ready. So this is a 6,500 dirham commercial grade Nilfisk.
Take the paint off.
Right? He wanted 800, offer him 650, job done.
Okay.
I'm like, I cannot believe this. So I got back home, and you do what you obviously need to do, which is you obviously need to get your little 7-year-old girl to see whether or not it's too powerful for her to hold on to. And the only way of doing that is to set it up on max power.
Hold on a second. So you got her holding it. She's ready. She's got the foot stance, and then you flick the switch.
Well, obviousi've got to warn her first, because, you know.
I got a vision here. Did you get this on video?
Actually, I've certainly got a photo of it at some point in the process, and bless her, she gave me that look, the enormous eyes of, gee whiz, Daddy, I didn't realise it was going to be quite like this. And then the big smile came, and then Dylan saw it, and he's 10, my boy, and he's like, right, I'm having half the car. So the two of them, Ruby kept on and off because she really liked getting pushed back by it. God, gee, if we ever gave her a gun, gee whiz. So
there are shooting ranges here.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Skeet shooting.
Yes. She absolutely, well, it literally was those kind of moments, but they were loving it. And then I introduced them to snow foam. And did all that with the car shampoo that the side so kindly gave me, because I mentioned I was going to go off and get some. I think I've got some. So, and then at that point they were made. That was it. And the lovely thing was, we kind of took our time with it, obviously with the kids there. And I've been taking the kids off-road, well, I still do, off-road every day. So the car was, beyond covered. Yeah. So you got that dramatic transformation that the kids really want to see, you know. So we got a good hour and a quarter, because it's a big car, of total enjoyed daddy and kid time. Yeah. And it was really good fun. And then, just to prove that we hadn't wasted our time on that occasion, I did the same yesterday, but they'd shut off the route, so I ended up in really, really deep sand. Yeah. Foot to the floorboards to stop myself bogging down.
This is in the Armada.
This is in the Armada, yeah.
That's a heavy machine.
It is. And with it being the first day of the week, I was like, oh my Lord. I'm also, straight out of this, I've got to go to a very posh location on the Palm to do a client visit. And I thought, they said that they had private parking slots. And I'm like, I cannot put that in a private parking slot. So this morning at 6:53.
Hold on, how loud is this thing?
It's not actually. It's not that bad. Okay. It's not that bad. It's the only slot I had. Basically, at 7 o'clock, I need to have fed the dogs and be in the shower. Okay, otherwise everything goes wrong with the school run. So at 6:53, I pulled out the trusty Nilfisk, no kids to be seen, connected it up, powered it, and sprayed down the entire car in 4 minutes.
Wow.
Right? So 6:57. It then, obviously, the breakdown took another 2 minutes. Fed the dogs at 6:59, in the shower at 7 o'clock.
Wow.
I know, I was so proud of myself.
You're doing the happy dance around the car?
Oh, there was definitely happy dances going on.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids came out and went, wow, it looks totally different to yesterday, Daddy. I'm like, yes, it does, doesn't it? It looks almost pristine for a 4-minute pressure wash.
That's great.
I know, I was well happy with that. So yes, it's totally earned its money back already. Everything else is just gravy.
There we go. That's nice.
Pressure washers. Don't buy rubbish. Buy a good one. Yeah. Even if it's second-hand. Please buy quality, people.
I still haven't convinced my wife that we need one. I keep trying, and she's going, do we really need a pressure washer? But I'm this close to getting a hedge trimmer.
Oh yeah, hedge trimmer is good. In fact, the Black & Decker one, which is not expensive.
Is that plug-in or is that...
It's plug-in.
Oh, see, now... I've almost got my wife there because we've got a. I'm actually
don't go for the lithium ions without a doubt.
Okay.
It comes
I
really
wanted
expensive.
I want one that plugs in.
Yeah,
anyway.
you definitely want a power one.
But the reason I need one is because in the true, because my grandmother, Agnes Salican, she passed away a few years ago, but wonderful woman, London born. So I've got English in my blood, and apparently I am the splitting image of my late Uncle Jack.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, really? And everyone
There's
says...
two of you.
They look at photos and they go, you look just like your Uncle Jack at all ages in your life. You look just like Uncle Jack. So how that all fits in is clearly there's that UK heritage in my blood, and I'm quite the hedge guy. So I'm following in the footsteps of Prince Charles, who is also a hedge master.
Well, we all are, every Brit, ever.
So I am also quite the hedge master in the yard. I've got wicked hedges growing.
Nice.
And we come to the point where I've trimmed them back several times now. And I realized the last time we trimmed them back, and I'm doing this by hand, and my wife was doing it, and she's going, and I've been on her for years, we need a hedge trimmer. We don't need a hedge trimmer. Now finally she's going, I think we need a hedge trimmer.
Nice.
So now I'm in the market. And
right. They're not expensive. You can literally go for like 350 dirhams to get something that's decent and new as well.
SpeedX?
No, I go online for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I go to Amazon. Here's an interesting hedge story for you.
So the one thing that with the electric ones, and I'm really keen, but the ones that have the pole that goes up.
Oh, they're more expensive by a long way.
Do I need one of those now?
No.
Okay.
No, use the ladder.
Just another small interesting observation is I'm pretty sure a month ago I saw a hedge trimmer being used over in Academic City that was attached to a drone.
That doesn't sound right.
I know, but I was watching the thing, and it was either a drone that was flying really odd, but it was going along the hedges, and it looked like it had one of those hedge trimmer things on it, and they were drone cutting the tree things in Academic City.
Were you on mushrooms at the time?
No.
But if you imagine,
I was watching the thing, and I'm going, this is really weird, but it kept flying along, and
you've got to get video footage of that.
I'm hoping it happens again because it was the weirdest thing, and I watched it for about
not even a control wire. Because if you imagine the interference it would take.
Yeah, I was watching for 20 minutes going, how is this, why is this doing this? And then I noticed that it had, the blades, and then it had like a hedge cutter on it.
Yes.
And it was all going in front of them. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. This is not safe.
It's this hedge story is quite a good one, which actually meant that I didn't need hedge trimming. I lived just outside Hammersmith.
I have no idea what
it's West London. Okay. And I live next door to, do you know the pop star Sophie Ellis-Bextor?
Of course.
Right. I live next door to her mum, who used to be a Blue Peter presenter, if you ever
Get out of here.
Yeah, she was. Anyway, and in this house, we had a really big hedge. And my one of the new guys moved in, and he said, "Are you aware that our entire hedge is rosemary?" I was like, "No, I hadn't got a clue." Anyway, just at that moment, he snipped a sample, went to the local pizzeria that was literally across this main road to us, and went, "Try our rosemary." And we ended up with this ridiculous quid pro quo deal, which was whenever they needed rosemary, and you'd need a lot of rosemary in a pizzeria, they would literally come, snip some, and the deal was 3 pieces for the whole house whenever we needed it. And they kept the hedge absolutely perfect. A 2-in-1 deal. It was utterly brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
the way to do it. Yeah. Next to Sophie Ellis-Bextor's mum.
Yeah, who
was extremely quiet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got to say, she didn't really. You'd have thought that being the mum of a pop star who is now very well known for dancing in her own kitchen.
Yes.
That there'd be a little bit more noise, but no.
No, that's quiet.
Yeah, one of those.
So that's good. I'm on to the hedge trimmer. This is good.
Yes.
I'm excited. I want to actually make things. I've got these 2 trees that are very good at growing in shapes.
Topiary, isn't that right?
Yeah. So that's why I absolutely want the hedge trimmer, so I can toporize them.
Nice. That's a cunning plan. You've got more skills than I have, without a doubt.
Back to my neighbor really quickly.
Yes.
And how this fits in is 3 days ago, my neighbor is like a never-ending source of conversation for this program.
Yes.
I hear, and And I think, so of course, I do
He's strangling a cat.
I had no idea what was going on. So I do know that my neighbor doesn't like to do a lot of these things. He hires people to do pretty much everything. And so, whereas I try to do more myself.
Yes.
So I get, as all good neighbors, I get the ladder out and peek over the fence.
With your binoculars.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, I know I've got hedge clippers in my hand, so it looks like I'm.
Oh, nice.
Nothing to trim where I was, but there's trimmers in the hand, so I've got a cover. And turns out he's putting up a pergola. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if it's really a pergola or more of a shelter thing, but he's had these in the backyard before. And that's where my mind started going, because I know you've got the pergola of all pergolas. And he had one of these very, very affordable Carrefour sunshade shelter things with the 4, posts and everything, that the cover after 2 summers died and was torn, and got someone in to, tear it down, and he's put up this new one that they were building because it was aluminum, and they're putting in the rivets or whatever it was.
Yes.
And I haven't seen the final product yet. I got to peek over the fence again and see what he's done. But I just...
You've got to wait for those hedge trimmers now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, I do have to climb up on the retaining wall to trim one of my trees that are there. I'm always a little nervous though, because I don't exactly want to fall in his pool fully dressed, because his pool's really darn clean. And
yeah, I know, but for the entertainment value, James, in one of your special shirts.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I definitely could.
No. When I'm doing any yard work, I wear auto mechanic clothes. So my brother, for many years, Joey Woo Woo,
yes,
he worked at Bruce Bissell Pontiac Buick.
Yes.
And he used to borrow, Bruce Bissell no longer in existence, he used to borrow.
I wonder why.
He used to borrow for me, coveralls, the full mechanic suits.
How many sets?
I've got 2.
Oh, only 2. How many friends has he got?
Well, Rob's no longer his friend, and I can't remember who.
Did he already have mechanics overalls by then? We're just working out why this dealership failed. Joey Woo Woo has got a lot to answer for. I'm shocked and appalled.
So anyway, I'm always wearing coveys, because these trees, you start getting into the trees and trimming them, they're so dirty.
We used to have a similar thing, which was we all were wearing Dad's flight overalls.
There we go.
Well, we all looked like Maverick in Top Gun. Literally, exactly the same as that. And they were the same, olive-coloured overalls with Don Thomas and all of his patches from Panavia Tornado and various other things. And that was our standard garb for when we were doing it, come to think about it. So we would have been entertaining together.
When your dad was flying the Tornadoes, did he come to Canada to break the sound barrier? Because I met a lot of folks who were doing tornado training back in the day, when this was really back in the day.
Yes,
and they would come to Canada.
In the 80s.
They would come back to Canada to break the sound barrier and do sound barrier training.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but what I can confirm is there were times when he was doing some sound barrier breaking work, where over the North Sea, the various occupants of various oil rigs claim to have seen UFOs with flames coming out of the back of them through the night, going at ridiculous speed. But obviously I can neither confirm nor deny exactly what might have happened on that occasion.
Yeah. Back to the pergolas.
Oh, yes.
So my neighbor's putting this thing up. I'm skeptical, because it just seems to me like it's going to be the same old story from previous pergolas, except it looks a little bit more substantial. But I'm skeptical. How do we decide on? You put up pergolas. Yeah. You know people who've put up pergolas. What goes into the decision-making process of what to buy? Go cheap, go big, go middle ground. What do I need to be thinking about?
Okay, so you've got 2 different materials, first of all. You've either got the usual aluminium section, or alternatively, you've got wood. With wood, you've got 2 choices, which is here, hardwood, which is only really Meranti, or alternatively, softwood.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Now, the softwood that you get here is very rarely pressure treated.
Oh, yeah. It's not finished either. You got to get it cut.
Yeah, away. Absolutely. Now, the original supply in a lot of places is exactly that, which is just a softwood finish. My brother-in-law's got one in the villa.
And?
Oh, it's shot. It's absolutely utterly shot.
I remember you talking about when he put that in, though. You were...
No, he didn't. No. Different unit entirely. So this is the one that came with the house, attached in the patio area, not the absolutely amazing Cape Reed that he's had built. So different area.
Okay, good, got it.
But it's been there now, I guess, for 10 to 12 years.
Hey, that's a good lifespan for a softwood outfit.
I know, but you think about that, and yes, it is. It's great. But the problem is, it's now at the stage where it is beyond repair.
Oh.
By requirements of the development, they need to have it there. It looks pretty rubbish, and therefore he's got a decision to make what he's actually going to do about it.
What are his options? Tear it down, replace it?
Replace it like for like, but you therefore need new wood, because if you did all the labour that it takes to actually sort out all the slats and whatever, it's a real pain. Alternatively, he's got to, having already created one amazing thatch structure, he needs to create another. So, which is a bit of a pain to do. But softwood, at the end of the day, the only reason that you would use softwood here is purely budget.
Okay.
And you're planning to be there for a year, 2 absolutely tops.
Given heat, given our weather change, given sand, given humidity.
And given the fact that there's very little chance that it's actually been seasoned, so it'll be too green anyway.
Wood just doesn't seem like the go-to option.
No, Moranti can work.
Okay, so that's a hardwood though. That's a hardwood. So if you go hardwood, maybe.
Yes, but then at the same time, Moranti's obviously a lot more expensive than softwood.
Are we talking like 20% more cost?
No, more like 60.
60?
Yeah.
Okay, so that really ups the budget.
Yeah, but then again, the other problem with going with any wood product is that it actually needs quite a lot of upkeep.
Right.
So are you prepared to do that upkeep?
No one is.
No, which is going to be every year, 2 years kind of tops.
Pressure wash, restain it, reseal it. Yeah. No one's going to do that.
No,
and especially when you get to this, if you've got slatting on the roof part, no one's getting up there and doing that.
Yeah. So then you're looking at aluminium, like your dear neighbour did, and like I've done as well. Now, the problem that we have with aluminium is you need some kind of base. Well, actually, you need a base for whatever you're doing, really, because if you don't have a base on Moranti, or it's just grass or whatever, then as the irrigation hits it, within a month or two, you will destroy that bottom section. It's that quick.
Yeah, really that fast?
Oh yeah, really fast.
Even though it's hardwood?
Yes, because it'll actually, it first of all, it eats away whatever the protection is. You then throw UV at it at the same time, and it degrades really quickly.
You know what my dad would have done?
What?
He would have soaked the bottoms of those posts in creosote, and that's what you use for train track ties.
Yes.
It smelled like a train yard in your yard, but man, nothing to be going at those things.
True. Yes. Yeah. I'm sure your one would love that visual. It's just the problem that many of us
You come out, you got the steam whistle.
Okay, so the next issue you've got is whether or not you're buying off the shelf, or alternatively, you're getting it custom made.
Yeah, off the shelf can be pretty cheap.
Exactly. Off the shelf can be pretty cheap. But the issue is, rarely do the dimensions work with the area that you've got.
Yeah.
So your options at that point are fudge it. Who cares about the size of the patio underneath? So either it's going to be too small, in which case it'll look a little bit odd, or it'll be too big, in which case you've got posts going into either a kind of garden area or alternatively grass.
I got to look and see what my neighbor did. I haven't even paid any attention. It's right beside his pool, so it's coming out the back door. So,
and then you've got a choice whether or not it is freestanding or attached to the building.
Oh, okay.
So 4 posts or 2 is the big question on that. And secondly, you've then got the option of going bespoke.
Yeah.
At that point, you get exactly what you want.
Which is good.
There are huge numbers of aluminium sections here, so you actually can get it done really quickly.
Oh.
So mine was probably about a week to 10 days from start to finish. They design it, obviously it's computer-aided design these days, so you can actually see it before it happens. But it comes at a price tag, and it comes at a real price tag, to say the least. We had options over powder coating, colour. We've talked before about the errors that Her Majesty made in terms of the aerofoil design that we have on ours, and the weight of that makes it too flexible and nowhere to put either lights or a fan.
Has the project manager, has she admitted these errors or no?
See, there's an admission and there's an admission. She has stated it might have been better to have gone with the other design. And I might have stated I gave you one job.
So it's not something you're talking about, really.
Well, we touched on it. We did, really, really genuine husband and wife communication of like, it must have been a good 15-second conversation we had on that one before we both decided we can either go nuclear or we can move on.
Yeah.
So we moved on. And the good news is, James, I can't remember any of the details whatsoever of the error that she made, the fact that she didn't put a mid-bar in there whatsoever.
Oh, no.
After I specifically stated that it was a total requirement from a structural perspective to put a mid-bar in there.
But does it look better without the mid-bar?
She knew better, and she knew that aesthetically it would look better without the mid-bar. But it's not practical in any shape or form. But the good news is I've moved on, James. It's not something that really I remember the details of in any shape or form. And
everyone listening is going, you've absolutely moved on from this.
Oh, I've definitely moved on. And you know what? I'm not even going to remember it if by any miracle we make our 40th wedding anniversary.
I think I'm at 29 years this year. This is my 29th wedding anniversary. Yeah, 29 years married.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know how my wife has put up with everything.
It's quite something. Well, we're at, 2008, so we are now at 13 years?
That's excellent, yeah. You're well on the road to...
Actually, that's a lie. No, we're not at that. That's when we met.
Oh.
So 2010. So yeah, that's a bit more realistic, isn't it? 11 years. Yeah. So, I suppose we're almost 12, as it was February. Yeah. Blimey. Oh, God, that's a thought. Oh, I am at 12.
Yeah. Did you miss the anniversary?
Oh, yeah. Do you know how we did it? How we found out it was our anniversary?
No.
My dad sent us both a message saying, I'm so sorry I missed your anniversary yesterday. We were both like, oh, happy anniversary for yesterday. Luckily, I saw it before she did. And initially, because I didn't know he'd sent it to her as well. He'd sent it to me directly. So, happy anniversary for yesterday. I thought this year you'd have remembered. And then she went, oh, so you got the message from your dad? Yeah, he reminded me. But then, you get me every day this romantic of the year. She said, yeah, that's exactly the issue.
So back to the pergolas.
Yes, pergolas. How do we get, we've literally had fast jet tornadoes.
That's what makes this podcast so desirable by so many people.
You think?
Absolutely.
Are you sure they're not crying on the other end of this?
They're crying, but they can't stop listening because they just want to know where it goes. And we're back to the pergola. So I can
we're on pergola.
So I can go and buy the thing off the shelf.
Buy the thing off the shelf.
Or I can get it bespoke made. There's obviously a cost differential.
Okay, now I'm going to throw in a third variation factor.
Buy one used off of Kijiji or Craigslist or what's the one? Dubizzle?
Dubizzle, yeah. I've been very close to this. It didn't actually happen, but there's a problem, which is, can you imagine transporting one of these?
Yeah.
So the only way of doing it, and I was going to do this, was to get a decent carpentry company to take it down for you from the location, transport it and put it back up. But you've just thrown on $2,500 to your cost as a minimum, utter minimum. Yeah. And that would be my deal rate in being in the industry.
Here's my thing when I'm thinking pergolas. So I've got some that are these solid structures, and then you've got these halfway things where you put a cloth cover over it, some kind of...
You'd enjoy that for a good 6 months.
Well, that's the thing. They sell like wildfire. I see them everywhere. People are buying them. I see them in people's yards, and then I just start the stopwatch.
Yeah.
And I always see the frame at some point with torn, ripped covering.
The percentages are quite something. Because when you see those, I think it's like a 3-to-1 ratio of frames only versus one with a cover.
Yeah. And then I saw one guy who had one with the cover. It lasted about 18 months. Then
really?
18 months.
That was a long time.
No cover for 18 months. And now some form of new cover on it. And we're another 18 months in. So,
do you know what I really find entertaining? Which is after large wind.
Yeah. Simon Smedley's coming to mind here.
You get that message on the community group.
Anyone seen my pergola?
Either, has anyone seen my pergola, or does anyone recognise this? And it's the standard thing that basically comes as all of the neighbours for the first time ever meet each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. Oh, so you live there. About your children.
So that answers the question about buying the off-the-shelf stock frame that you put a cover on of some sort, a sunshade on of some sort.
Yeah, but there's that midpoint, which is if you're going custom, but you want to go custom on a budget, go wood. Because it's much cheaper to be able to make something custom out of wood than it is out of aluminium.
But the aluminium is going to last longer.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a total night and day.
And how much extra is it going to cost between the wood and the aluminium? Or for those who are listening from Canada, aluminum. Are we talking 50% cost differential?
Good question. No, I reckon it'd be about 30 to 35.
That's within the doable range if you're thinking, something that's going to last you 5 years.
Yeah, but I mean, to give you a kind of a rough outline, the one that we've got is a bit significant. So at least it's about the width must be about, I think it's 7 meters width by probably about the same again.
Okay.
And obviously, I'm kind of in a bit of a lucky position being in the industry, and I got a whacking great discounts off it. But with that kind of custom made for what we were looking at, the market rate for that would have been about 55,000 for that. Yeah, so they're really expensive. Yeah,
it's like the price of a used car.
Yeah, but it literally is. So that is the kind of
talking dirhams here, by the way.
Dirhams, yes, that's in dirhams.
But still, 55,000.
Yeah, that's the kind of price that you're looking at here. I mean, I got it for half that. But still, if you imagine with us,
20,000 dirhams.
Normally they'll get 5 or 6 more jobs off the back of it.
Yeah.
And they did, to be fair, because they did such a great job overall, apart from the design direction. It was not their fault whatsoever. And they installed it in a day.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the speed of installation was quite something. They left shavings, and I mean, actually, I've said that about good installation. The physical installation and what's left is great. But here's something that really gets on my nerves, and as you know, is a bugbear of mine with our own guys, which is the clear-up should be immaculate.
You know what, this is a worldwide phenomenon, because I always lived in the delusion that, if we go back to Canada, it's going to be different. And then good friend Steve Braden, built a house.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, how was the construction? And he's got all the stories. He goes, well, the guys came, they left their lithium batteries that were done, they left garbage here, they tried to hide. I'm going, it sounds just like the Dubai. And he says, I couldn't believe it. I think it was worse. I'm just going, what the heck?
Ours is simple, which is you leave a property cleaner than you found it.
Oh, I love your guys when they come and do work. They clean up, they mop, the things that had never been cleaned in months, they've got it back to first been built.
But it has to be, because that is the last memory that a customer has of you as a company.
I love it.
So it has to be that.
You know what? I think we've reached the end of yet another show, which means coming up in our next podcast.